Hey, CMU. How you doing? Can we take 1 second? I'm going to set my bottle of water down. And just give a round of applause for everyone who's been up on this stage before me, please. It's been absolutely put it together. Thank you. So beautiful. Thank you. Very inspiring. And Ted and all the rest of you, thank you so much. Let's, I think, do that one. I want you to stay there. My first film was called The Sons of Zorro. It was very strange. I wrote it with my buddy, co-directed, co-produced, co-earned the money to make the thing by washing the neighbor's car for 2 weeks. Is there any car in the world that gets dirty every day for 2 weeks? And it was called The Sons of Zorro, not to be confused with The Son of Zorro, which is an actual Hollywood production, no relation whatsoever. I was 6 years old. We made this film. It was great. I died early in the film, actually. I forgot to say I starred in it, too. And we put on the production when we made this film in the basement to a packed house. I am talking packed. That many people showed up. 17 people piled into the Trolson's basement. I think we sold candy bars for like 50 cents, and it was a killing. You know, they have the Hollywood blockbuster weekend measure, $9. So, one of the things that I knew is that this was good art. Ask my mom. She saw it. Mom, I hope you're listening from wherever you're at right now. She knew it was good art. I thought it was good art. There's a lot of good art out there. Our problem was a distribution problem, right? We didn't get the word out. We didn't have the opportunity to get the word out. So, I mean, 17 people. Can you imagine if we could do that now? You know, I send 35,000 Twitter followers to go see this film. It would be amazing. But we didn't have the mechanism for distribution. Until now. We've got it now. It's no secret that social media is really running crazy in our world right now. I don't necessarily, I think I'm involved in it. I don't see the full picture yet because it's that big. But a couple things I do know. I know it's the first time in the history of the world where independent content creators, I'm a photographer, a filmmaker, where we both control the distribution and the creation of our stuff. The first time, it used to be one or the other, and usually if it was the other, it was Hollywood owned it, or some other big media company. But it's the first time in the history of the world where we get to do both. That's powerful. Artists used to require permission from people to do stuff. I mean, back in the age old, you had to get permission from the king or the pope or whomever. And not that long ago, you had to get permission from the gallery. You had to get permission, if you're a photographer from the magazine, had to hire you. Yes, you're worthy. No, you're not worthy. Yes, you're worthy. No, you're not worthy. For the ad campaign, the same thing. The ad agency had to love your work. Then you got to share on any sort of scale. You said you could share, but yeah, you could share with your parents and your friends. You could walk around New York with your portfolio, see 10 people in a day instead of 10,000. It is the democratization of creativity. We are in it right now. That is cool. In line with this democratization is something I'm calling a grand experiment. I'm a part of it. I think a lot of you are a part of it, if not all of you. And the notion is that what we're doing is we're defying the old model. The old model took ideas, creative ideas, and it held on to them. And it put a wet blanket on them so that you couldn't see my ideas, and I've got my thing under non-disclosure, and it's about me and my ideas. This new model, this grand experiment, is the sharing, the absolute releasing of ideas into the world. It's like a fire hose of ideas just bombing you every day. This is expressly disruptive for a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, it's great when you see people that have, Twitter followings and larger media presence than the media. It's awesome. unless, of course, there are people I wouldn't go on to name. But the idea is a powerful one. This new and disruptive model is something that we can own. Fearless. I love to create stuff. I love to share it. But I can't say that the road to do that has been fear-free, okay? On the contrary, it's been very scary for me. It's very scary for a lot of artists. And if you're not scared and you're an artist, maybe you're not pushing it hard enough. I'm not going to comment on that, but that's just my gut, because I'm scared poopless. Everything I do. Quitter. I'll get to that in a second. I want to give you a little background on why and how I became an artist. It started out way back. I'm an only child. And I think a lot of you just went, That had nothing to do with being spoiled in my house. And Mom, Dad, I respect and love you so much. But I did get upside-down Nikes. I had Adidas with 4 stripes. We had everything we needed. We had a beautiful house. There was always amazing meals on the table. Just really frugal. I was not spoiled in the classic sense. I was an only child, and what that meant in my house was, here's a block of wood, go play in the backyard for the next 6 hours. Which is awesome when you think about it. That is where I developed my imagination and my creativity. And then something interesting happens is after I'm done playing, I got to go inside, and I sit down at the table. My parents ask me, what did you have to do today? What did you make in the backyard? I had to sit at the adult table. There were no kid tables. That was cool. Now, I took this kid who's really imaginative, and then we put him in this kind of the typical school environment, and I got no disrespect for sports. Sports put me through college. I went to school on a soccer scholarship. I played football and soccer, but it really muddied the creative side. Like the hipster jock guy doesn't get along well with the artsy-fartsy, and I was very conflicted, so I didn't know what to do. But what I did know on the backside of it, backside of high school that is, backside of college, is that my grandfather passed away, and I was willed his cameras. That, in part, ignited something in me. That, plus a trip with my then-girlfriend, now wife, Kate, to Europe for 5 or 6 months, living out of a bag. Those things united me. They put me in a place where I could think again about creativity. That, plus completely bailing on medical school. Sorry, Mom. I don't know. She was very, very supportive. I'm even a better quitter than that. Not only did I quit one school, but I quit another one. I was in a PhD program in the philosophy of art at the University of Washington, very respected program. What did I do? I quit. Respect for quitting. So, yes. And I basically got tired of talking about dead white men, and not doing art. There was a lot of fear in all those moves, you guys. A lot of fear. But that's what allowed me to call myself an artist. And when you call yourself an artist, that's just the first level of fear. Now that you're into the second level of fear, it's like the second level of hell, right? You're into the second level of fear, and now you have to actually stand for your ideas. You have to articulate your vision. You have to subject yourself to criticism, put it out there, and that's scary. You can see there's this fear theme going on. Is this idea good enough? Is it big enough? Is it worthy? Am I going to get laughed off stage? All those are challenges that we face as artists, and I would argue that the world faces, everyone, especially these creative folks. It's a real hard racket. The external thing, like all those pressures, they're a given. They're going to be there. There's going to be critics. If 1,000 people pay attention to what you do and there's 10% mean people in the world, then, whatever, you're going to get a bunch of people who don't like what you do. But we can't control that. We can control, however, what's going on in our head. And that's what I believe very strongly in, is a personal vision. There's a lot wrapped up in that. There's more fear still. We're getting deeper in the fear zone. The fear is within each industry in the creative pursuits. When you get to imagine you had 6 photographers sitting around. Is everybody buying the most expensive liquor and everyone cheers in and buying the T-bone steak? No. There's financial pressure. There's all kinds of stress. Your girlfriend doesn't want you to do this, and the film costs too much to develop. I mean, it's a very stressful environment. It's fear-driven. There's a lot of competition, a lot of fighting for business, and a lot of, you see where I'm going right now, a lot of hoarding of ideas. That is an awful cancer. And when I was an established professional photographer, making a living, I was looking around like, this is a horrible, horrible cancer. There's got to be a better way. I didn't have any mentors when I was coming up. And in hindsight, that was good because it made me want to do something. When I saw what was going on in the photography industry, or you could argue the filmmaking industry as well, I wanted to do something. So I started sharing, and I've been sharing ever since that day, a long time ago, years and years. I used to just share to a room, and I should note, I was sharing amidst a bunch of people that didn't really like that I was sharing. And I used to just share to 50 people or 100 people, and maybe 250 if I'd talk at a school or something, and maybe 500 in a size auditorium like this. And I felt really good about that. And then something happened. The whole technology world, the internet, came alive. That was a magical moment for me. What that made me want to do is put the hammer down. Those social tools were available for us. And now, instead of speaking to 50, 500, or 5,000, I could speak to 50,000. Or if I was lucky and said something smart, 500,000 people could hear. And again, we're sharing ideas. We're getting them out in the world, not hoarding them. For the first time, sharing was scalable. This is a new paradigm. Instead of going on, I put the hammer down and I revealed every trick in the book that I could. And again, I'm not an educator. I'm an artist. Basically, the way it works for when I'm sharing is I'm doing my thing and someone else is pointing a video camera at me and I'm saying, oh yeah, I'm setting it on this. I'm focused. But I find that incredibly fun. And the feedback that I get from the world is great. It's engaging, I'm told. I'm definitely engaged. One of the early versions of this, when the internets really got going, was a friend of mine, Craig. Hopefully Craig's listening right now. He said, hey, Chase, you know that laptop that you guys made and take out on location because you're digital photography now? You should put that online, do a little video. Horrible video, made in one day, just duct taped together, household bleach and scotch tape. And I put it out there in the world, and like 25 or 30,000 people watched it in a weekend. I was like, wow, who are these people? They're hungry for ideas is what they are. So, all right, I got some more of those. You guys like that? Started throwing stuff at the wall and saw what stuck. So instead of getting tens of thousands of views, we started like showing our behind-the-scenes work on actual real productions when we could get the company to allow us. And that was hundreds of thousands of views on these YouTube videos. Who are these people? They're people who are hungry for ideas and for sharing and for ideas. It's exactly what I said before. Then another interesting thing happened. A company called Nikon came and said, hey, Chase, we would like you to shoot the campaign for the world's first HD DSLR. Which, if you know anything about cameras, that's literally changed the face of cameras. People who have these cameras can now make a cinematic look with a $2,000 camera instead of a $200,000 camera. I shot that campaign for them. In the process, I asked them if I could make a video behind the scenes. I wanted to show the people that I'm connecting with what it's like to be the first person in the world to get to hold this thing. I had an idea of what I was holding. It's really gone on to transform filmmaking, but. And I made a little video and I shared that, and millions of people watched that. So if you look at the little scale, in just a couple of years, it went from 50 people to talking to a million people, millions of people. And to me, that's exciting, not because they're paying attention to what I do, because that's a pain in the neck in its own right sometimes, but it's that anybody can do this, and it's about the ideas being let free rather than held on to. Recently, I guess about a year ago, now we're spanning some time, but I did the first kind of play-by-play of any global ad campaign. I was tweeting and taking pictures, posting them, and we'd do videos every night from New Zealand for a company called SanDisk. Millions of people. a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago now. Sorry, time flies. We broadcast, not the, but one of the first somewhat large-scale commercial photo shoots live from our studio in Seattle. 20,000 people watched for up to 8 hours. Exactly. What? It's incredible. I love it. But again, what we're getting back to is we're getting back to the sharing of ideas. Truth. In hindsight, I really took a lot of heat for sharing this stuff. I had people tell me that I was taking the livelihood off of their table and giving it to an 18-year-old with a Nikon D60 or an EOS Rebel. I took a lot of flack. I was vilified, trashed, basically. But inside, I knew there was a greater good. I mean, if an 18-year-old with a Nikon D60 can take better pictures than a pro who's been working at it for 20 years, there is something wrong, right? It's undeniable that what we've got here on our hands is something very, very interesting. I feel like I'm challenged to become a better artist when I put my ideas out there. If I can give you my best idea, what does it do to me? It motivates the heck out of me to do something more, to do something bigger. I get great feedback from the community. The community gives something back. I take ideas from the community too. By giving ideas away, I feel like we give every idea a better chance to succeed. I have more ideas than I do time to make stuff. Same with you. But there's somebody out there who wants you to make their idea and you want to make theirs. It's another layer of symbiosis. I'm banking that I'm going to have another idea, and I'm going to have another one after that, another one on that. And you know what? My business model as an artist literally depends on it now, because once you start that thing, you can't stop it, because now I've been giving this stuff away, this information. But I'm getting so much in return, you guys. I can't explain it enough. Honest. Please join this grand experiment. Is it going to pan out? I have no idea. So far, so good. Talk to me in 5 years. I may have blown it. But I do know, I find it interesting and exciting to me that I'm talking at a TEDxCMU event right now, because the people in the audience, you all are extremely bright people. There is a ton, just walking across campus, there's a ton of energy, even on the weekend. If I could impress upon you guys one thing, I'm talking about creativity, but I really am talking about ideas. Set your ideas free. Will it work? I have no freaking idea, but only time will tell. Thank you very much.